In the midst of my recording several videos where I questioned just how fame operates, how people become famous, the degree to which celebrity is something that can happen to anyone, that can like the sort of American dream notion that you can be anyone you want to be if you put your mind to it. You can step off the boat, with just a nickel to your name, and then become Rockefeller. That whole idea. Not that you'd want to be. I certainly wouldn't want to be Rockefeller, but in the idea of the self-made man, that's sort of becoming a Rockefeller is seen as a good thing. But boy, not my idea of living a good life. But I speculated about a bunch of different things. I talked a lot about the book Weird Scenes in the Canyon. I talked a lot about my brush with fame, in that I knew these two guys who went on to become semi-famous, and one of them is now Kevin Spacey's manager, which is still just wild, crazy stuff, like too crazy for me to even really digest. It still gives me heartburn to think about. You can go back and watch those videos if you want the deets and all of that. It just so happens today, the YouTube channel Understanding Conspiracy has this video that they've posted, which is an interview, an incredible interview with a young artist, a young singer, songwriter, who almost became famous. And this is all, according to her testimony. So of course that makes leaves it vulnerable to anybody who wants to say, oh, she's just making all this up or whatever. I would recommend, if this interests you, if the subject interests you, I would recommend listening to the interview and judging for yourself. I find that it's easy to detect insincerity most of the time, and I don't know. This girl seems like she's telling the truth about what happened to her. Can never know for sure, but that's just my impression. Now, interesting things that were gleaned from this interview. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things, but I think one of the things that makes it believable, one of the things that makes it credible, is the fact that she seems to be talking about it in some ways rather hesitantly, and she doesn't want to give out any names, and you get this sense that she's still kind of in some fear of maybe of being retaliated against in some way. I don't know. But some interesting things that are said in this interview. First of all, the young artist who identifies herself by name in the interview, I'm not going to reveal it here, because it gets said once and then it's never really gets repeated. So I don't know how much she really wishes it to be amplified, but nevertheless she does identify herself at the beginning of the interview by name. So you can look her up, and there is somebody of that name who seems to have a very similar singing voice to this girl's speaking voice, and I would my impression is that is her. But again, I don't want to make it too easy to find, because I don't know, it just wasn't I don't know, just going by instinct here. Like she is okay with being known, but not with it being like constantly, in your face all the time what her name is, and where you can find her work and so forth. But it seems to be still up there, so that lends added credibility to her story. So she tells the story of how she was doing writing songs and wanted to be a new pop star, and she just had this idea of writing a particular type of song, and having a particular type of image, and having it be something that was fairly wholesome, and not really of being edgy or anything like that. And she talks about how she was discovered by somebody who she refers to as an investor in the music industry, and who tells her she's talented, and he wants to see to it that she has a career, and that he has the juice to make it happen. He knows the right people, and he's a force within the industry. At one point in the interview, she calls this guy by name, or briefly uses a name, and then says, "Oh, I shouldn't use his name." But of course, I started, after I heard that, I started going around to search engines, just writing in this little name in music industry. I wasn't able to find anything much there. But she talks about how she was taken under this guy's wing, and that he seemed very nice and encouraging at first. But at some point along the way, he became he became critical of her, her notion of presentation and image. He said, according to her, he wanted her to have a more masculine presence, and wanted her to have a girlfriend, and wanted to pair her with these dance instructors who, reading between the lines of what she was saying in the interview, it seemed like what she was basically saying was that they were wanting her to dance in ways that she wasn't interested in dancing. Again, it sounds like her whole thing was that she wanted to be classy, wholesome, and fairly simple. Just as she puts it, just singing love songs. But it looked like this manager was wanting, or this investor, as he called her. I'm comfortable saying he was a handler. I think handler would be a word to use, an appropriate word to use in the case of this guy. And later she talks about how, by the grace of God, she started to. She doesn't say by the grace of God, although there's stuff about her faith conversion in this interview as well, which I think I don't want to lay too much emphasis on that, because I think there are important things to glean from this interview, regardless of what your ideas regarding faith are. But anyway, what I would say, by the grace of God, she started looking into things, and particularly things involving stuff that allegedly happens to children in the industry. Like I could say a certain Italian dish, a certain popular Italian meal that involves tomato and cheese and sometimes pepperoni, tomato paste on bread, right? That, followed by something that you open to walk into a yard, not a door, but and it rhymes with mate. Okay, I'm being very very circumlocucious here because using the word that I hinted at just now, the two words mashed together, um, you know, are really like no 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 no, can't do that, can't do that on YouTube. Well, I didn't do it. I didn't say anything, YouTube. I just described a couple of things. That's all. You know, if people want to take it the way they're going to take it, then that's their thing. That's nothing that I did. I can't take responsibility for that. So she started doing certain kinds of research and posting certain things, and her handler said, why are you posting about this stuff? This isn't, I don't want you to post about this stuff. And she started to wonder, well, why not? Is there some complicity there? And by the way, she talked about how this guy, would send, would post things of himself, like showing himself in power positions, like sitting with celebrities, sitting courtside at NBA games, visiting people giving a speech at the UN, and being pictured with this or that president or head of state from wherever. So she called it flexing. She saw him doing these kinds of things, and so what sticks with me most about this interview, and again, I recommend you listen to it. There's two things that stick with me in particular. One was when she actually point blank asked him, does this go on? Things involving children in the industry, does that happen? And he said, yes, it does. But there's nothing we can do about that. That's just going to be that's just the way it is. So for whatever reason, they were at the point in their whatever it is, relationship. I don't know if I want to call it that, but I guess it's a relationship whenever two people are relating to each other. But they were at the point where he was gonna level with her and tell her, yep, that's what goes on. And she asked him about MK Ultra stuff. Does that happen? And is that going to happen to me? Am I going to be mind controlled in one way or another? And he sort of said, well, probably. It's at some point in some way, yeah. So again, wild that he's being that open about it, isn't it? And eventually what he said, what he tells her is that, and these are her words that I'm summarizing here. She's summarizing his words. But what he said to her was, there's no such thing as good or evil. It's all the same, right? And what you have to decide right now, this is him talking to her, what you have to decide right now is whether you want to be a queen in this world or be a serf. You need to make that decision. I mean, wow. That's putting it on the line. And she didn't want to. She balked at where this might take her, and eventually he moved on. He said, well, he cut his losses and decided, well, I guess we can't work together after all, and he moved on, to seduce other souls into damnation, likely. So again, it's an interview that I would recommend everybody listen to if you're interested in this subject. And I mean, I think it should be a subject that interests you, because this is what it's all about. I mean, we live in a world that is ruled by evil entities, it seems to me, to a large extent, to a large degree. And it seems to me, well, what I was saying before, that, success, fame, celebrity, which was something that at one time, I was in a band for a little while. We never got anywhere close like she did. But, it was sort of something where, like, yeah, maybe we can we make this work? Can we maybe get signed? Whatever. And to a lesser extent in writing, which, I do right now, but I've never flirted with the big time. And I don't know to what extent, and the publishing industry is probably just as demonic and perverse as all on the higher levels, on the higher echelons, as all the rest of them. I'm guessing. So it's like I think it's important to see how we are ruled by evil people, evil entities, inducing other people to do evil things, or blackmailing them, getting them to do things, and then saying, okay, now you're under my command. You got to support the message that I'm pushing out there, or else I'm going to expose you. I'll expose the things that you did. We took pictures of you doing it. These kinds of things that undoubtedly happen, are happening. I think it's important to know about this stuff, be cognizant of this stuff, and be aware of it. It doesn't seem to me like it has to be this way. This is just what I was thinking recently. Why, if you just shrug and say, well, yeah, evil rules the world, it doesn't have to, right? I don't think that it has to. I mean, unless there's some big, theological reason why, if it's like the devil's given free reign in over this life until until the judgment day comes, or whatever, and we're here to be tested by the devil. I mean, I'm sure a lot of that is true, and stories of the devil. The devil took Jesus up and tried to tempt him, tried to say, hey, look, everything can be yours if you just follow me. I mean, that's even in the Gospels. Even Jesus was tempted by wealth, by fame, by celebrity. So I don't know. These are big, big important issues that are worthy of pondering. So I will leave the link to the interview below, and you can watch it. And if you do choose to watch it and you have thoughts about it, let me know what you think. And I'll talk to y'all soon.